Hey, loves, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm so excited about today's Pick a Pile. I feel like this is gonna be really juicy and insightful for all of us. Today we're diving into what energy someone special is holding back from you. This is a timeless reading, so it'll resonate whenever you're watching. We're going to uncover what they're not saying, what they might be hiding, or just the vibes they haven't fully expressed yet. Ooh, I'm getting chills already. It's all about that unsaid energy between you and this person. I'm so ready to get into this. So let's meet our crystal guides. First up, we have the Selenite tree, which is all about illuminating unspoken truths and hidden intentions. If you're drawn to clarity and understanding, this might be your pile. Next, we have the turquoise palm stone. This one's for those guarded hearts and the boundaries of affection. Maybe they're protecting themselves or you, so what is that about? Then we have the Lapis Lazuli moon, all about balancing unresolved conflicts and finding emotional equilibrium. If you're sensing some tension, this moon might be calling you. And finally, we have the Sodalite butterfly. This one represents restricted communication and untapped potential. Are there words left unsaid or a connection that's ready to transform? Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let your intuition guide you to the pile that feels most magnetic. There's no right or wrong choice, so trust what pulls you in. You can even check out multiple piles if you feel drawn to more than one. Now, let's make a wish for clarity, for open communication, and for the beautiful unfolding of your connection. Trust yourself, and let's dive in. Okay, so you chose the Selenite tree, which is all about illuminating things, right? And this reading is about unspoken truths and hidden intentions. So, the Selenite is already working to bring some clarity to what's been in the shadows, you know? Okay, let's dive into these cards. First, we have the moon. Ooh, the moon. This card is all about illusions, secrets, things that are hidden beneath the surface. It's that feeling of walking in the dark, not quite sure what's real and what's just a trick of the light. There might be some confusion or uncertainty around a situation or even a person in your life right now. You might be picking up on vibes that don't quite make sense, or maybe you're sensing that someone isn't being entirely honest with you, or maybe you're not being entirely honest with yourself. It's calling you to trust your intuition, your gut feelings, because they're probably picking up on things that your conscious mind hasn't fully registered yet. But be careful not to jump to conclusions, okay? The moon can also represent anxieties and fears that are clouding your judgment. So ask yourself, what are you really afraid of? What's lurking in the shadows of your own mind? This is really about tapping into your subconscious and acknowledging what needs to be brought into the light. Then we have death. Now, don't freak out, okay? This isn't about physical death, but it's about transformation, release, endings. It's about shedding old layers that no longer serve you. This could be a relationship, a job, a belief system, anything that's holding you back from your full potential. It's a powerful card of change, even though change can be scary, right? It's like you're being asked to let go of something that's familiar and step into the unknown. But trust that this ending is making way for something better, something more aligned with your true self. What needs to end so that something new can begin? It's time to say goodbye to the old. And finally, we have the star. Ah, the star, it's like a breath of fresh air after a storm. This card represents hope, healing, renewal. After the darkness of the moon and the ending of death, the star is a reminder that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. It's a sign that you're on the right path, even if you don't see it clearly yet. This is about trusting in the universe and having faith that things will work out for your highest good. It's like you're being guided towards a brighter future, one filled with peace, serenity, and inspiration. Embrace the healing energy of this card and allow yourself to dream big, okay? So, see how it all connects. The moon hides the truth, death clears the way, and the star guides you forward. It's like you're moving from confusion to clarity, from endings to new beginnings, and ultimately, from darkness to hope. This is a powerful journey, you know. Alright, so building on all that, we've got what energy they're holding back from you, and girl, we got the Two of Cups. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. So the Two of Cups is usually all about partnership, right? Like connection, mutual attraction, like finding your other half, you know. It's harmony and balance in a relationship, but since it's what they're holding back, that kinda changes things, doesn't it? So, like, maybe they're hesitant to fully commit, you know? Like, they see the potential, they feel the connection, but something's holding them back from, like, fully diving in. Maybe they're scared, you know, after that death card we saw, maybe they went through a tough breakup or a painful ending and they're afraid of getting hurt again. So they're keeping their guard up, not fully opening their heart. Or, here's another thought, what if they're holding back their true feelings? Like maybe they feel even more strongly than they're letting on, and it's almost scary for them to be that vulnerable, you know? They might be playing it cool, trying not to scare you off, but underneath it all, they're, like, totally head over heels. Which, you know, the moon card could tie into this, right? Like they're hiding their true feelings, keeping them in the shadows because they're afraid of what might happen if they reveal them. And it could also be that they're holding back because they're not entirely sure what they want, you know? They might be attracted to you, they might enjoy your company, but they're still figuring things out for themselves. They're still going through that transformation we saw with the death card, and they're not ready to fully commit until they have a better sense of who they are and what they want. It's like they're trying to balance their feelings for you with their own personal journey, and it's a little bit overwhelming, you know. But here's the thing, with the star card shining over everything, it means that there is hope for a deeper connection. Like, if they can overcome these fears and hesitations, if they can be more open and vulnerable with you, then this could turn into something really beautiful and fulfilling. You know, it is all about illuminating those unspoken truths, like the Selenite tree is supposed to do. Okay, so what's the next card gonna tell us? I'm so curious to see how you can help them to maybe drop this guard a little bit. Okay, so the card for the energy they're holding back is the Ten of Swords, oh honey. I mean, that's a heavy card, right? Like, swords in the back, it looks painful. So, what are they holding back? It's like they're trying to avoid something, some kind of ending, some kind of defeat. It's interesting that we saw the death card earlier, you know. Maybe they went through something really tough and now they're scared of getting hurt again, so they're, like, bracing themselves for the worst. Maybe they're holding back because they're afraid of failing you, you know? Like, they really like you, but they don't think they're good enough, or they're afraid they'll mess things up. So, instead of putting themselves out there completely, they're keeping a part of themselves hidden, like they're protecting themselves from potential disappointment. It's like they're playing it cool, you know, acting like they don't care as much as they do, because if they don't care, then it won't hurt as much if things don't work out right. Or maybe they're holding back some truth, some secret that they're afraid to reveal because they think it will ruin everything. Like, the moon card we pulled earlier was all about hidden things. Maybe there's something in their past or something they're dealing with now that they're afraid to share with you. And it's weighing on them, you know, like those swords in their back. It's causing them pain and anxiety, but they're too scared to be vulnerable and open up about it. But here's the thing, it could also be that they're holding back because they feel like they're not ready for a serious relationship right now. Like, maybe they're still figuring things out after that death card moment, still going through that transformation. They might really like you, but they know they're not in the right place to fully commit, so they're keeping you at arm's length until they're ready, which honestly, is kinda mature, right? So, whatever it is they're holding back, it's clearly causing them some pain. It's preventing them from fully connecting with you and from being their true selves. The question is, what can you do to help them release this energy? What can you do to create a safe space for them to be vulnerable and open up? I'm so curious to see what the next card is, you know. Okay, so now the card to help you, to show you, how to get around this Ten of Swords energy, right? How to make them feel safe enough to not feel like they're gonna get stabbed in the back, we have the Lovers. I mean, okay, that's kinda perfect, right? It's not just romantic love, it's also about choices and alignment and values, you know. So, the Ten of Swords is all about feeling trapped and defeated, right? They're holding back because they're afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of repeating past mistakes. They are, with that Ten of Swords energy, they feel like they're already defeated, you know. But the Lovers card is saying that you have the power to help them see things differently, You have the power to create a space where they feel safe and supported enough to make a different choice. A choice that aligns with their heart and their values. So, how do you do that, right? First and foremost, it's about being authentic, being genuine, you know. The Selenite tree is all about illuminating truth, right? So you can't be fake, you can't pretend to be someone you're not. They need to see the real you, flaws and all, so they feel safe enough to show you the real them, flaws and all. It's about creating a connection based on honesty and trust. And it's also about understanding, you know? Try to see things from their perspective. Like acknowledge their fears and their past hurts. Show them that you understand why they're hesitant, why they're holding back. It's about validating their feelings without enabling their fears, you know? Like, I get why you're scared, but I also know you're strong enough to overcome this. And, here's the thing, it's not about pushing them or pressuring them, okay? It's about creating a space where they feel safe enough to open up on their own terms, at their own pace. It's about showing them that you're there for them, no matter what, that you're not going to judge them or abandon them, even if they reveal something that's scary or vulnerable. It's about being a safe harbor in their storm, because ultimately, the Lover's card is about choice, right? And they need to feel like they have a choice, like they're not being forced into anything. They need to feel like they're in control of their own destiny. And by creating that safe and supportive space, you're giving them the freedom to choose love, to choose vulnerability, to choose connection, even when it's scary. Okay, so what's the final card? What's the ultimate outcome if you do all of this, you know? Okay, so, like, you create this safe space, you show them the Lover's energy, you help them to release that Ten of Swords, that fear of getting hurt. What's the ultimate outcome? We have, oh my gosh, the Sun. I mean, that's like the best card in the deck, right? Like, pure joy, happiness, abundance, success, I mean, it's amazing. So, if you can manage to navigate all that other stuff, like, this is what you're working towards, this is what's possible, you know? It's like, after all the darkness and fear and hesitation, the sun is shining down on you too, illuminating everything with its warmth and light. It's a sign of incredible happiness and fulfillment in your relationship. Like, this isn't just a fleeting moment of joy, it's a deep, lasting sense of contentment and connection. But also, that selenite tree is about revealing secrets, right? I feel like the sun here is saying that, like, if they can reveal the truth and you create that space, you know, it's gonna be so much better for you, so much better for them. It's like that Ten of Swords energy isn't even gonna be a thing anymore. And like, remember we were talking about the moon and all those hidden things? Well, the sun is the opposite of the moon, right? It's all about clarity, honesty, and openness. So, if they can overcome their fears and be vulnerable with you, then you can create a relationship built on complete transparency and trust, which is, like, the foundation for true happiness. It's like all those unspoken truths that were lurking in the shadows are finally brought into the light, and they're not scary anymore, they're actually beautiful, because they're part of what makes you too unique and special, you know? And remember that death card, that transformation. The sun is like the ultimate rebirth. It's like they've shed all those old layers, all those limiting beliefs, and they've emerged into the light, ready to embrace a new chapter of their life with you. It's like they're finally free from the past, free from their fears, and ready to fully experience the joy and abundance that life has to offer, and you get to share that with them. It's not saying it's gonna be perfect, right? But it's saying that it's gonna be so good, you know? It's saying that there is a beautiful path forward. It's like you've both learned so much from your past experiences, and now you're ready to create a future filled with love, laughter, and light. And that star card we pulled, like, it's just getting brighter and brighter. So, yeah, the sun, I mean, what better way to end this part of the reading, right? It's pure magic, pure potential, it's like, grab it. Okay, I'm so excited to see what's next, like, what does this all mean for you, you know? What's the next step on this sunny path? So, like, remember how we started with the moon, all those hidden emotions and uncertainties, right? And then death, letting go of what doesn't serve you, making way for something new? And the star, that little glimmer of hope in the darkness. Well, the sun is like, all of that coming to fruition, you know. It's like you've navigated through the shadows, you've released the old baggage, and now you're stepping into this incredible, radiant light. And like, the sun isn't just about, being happy, it's about, a deep sense of fulfillment, a feeling of being completely aligned with your true self and your purpose. So, what does this look like in real life, right? Well, maybe it means you're finally in a relationship where you feel completely seen and understood, where you can be your authentic self without fear of judgment. Or maybe it means you're pursuing your passions with confidence and joy, knowing that you're making a positive impact on the world. Or maybe it just means you're waking up every morning with a sense of gratitude and excitement for the day ahead, you know? And it's not always gonna be sunshine and rainbows, right? But even when challenges arise, you'll have the inner strength and resilience to overcome them, because you've already done the hard work of facing your fears and releasing your past hurts. You know. And remember the Lover's card? That was about making choices that align with your values, right? And so now, you're making those choices and you're seeing how it all pays off. It's you chose to be brave, you chose to be vulnerable, and now you're reaping the rewards of that courage. But you have to do it together. And remember how the crystal reading was about illuminating, right? It was about revealing the truth. And the selenite tree, it's still working, you know? It's still helping you to see things clearly and to stay connected to your intuition. So trust yourself, trust the process, and know that you're exactly where you're meant to be. It's you've got this, girl. So embrace this sunshine, soak it in, and let it radiate from within, you know? Let it light up your life and the lives of those around you. The sun is a reminder that you are worthy of happiness, you are capable of love, and you have the power to create a life that is truly fulfilling. So go out there and shine, okay? You deserve it. And all of this is possible because you chose to look, to listen, and to grow. That selenite tree knew you needed that. You know, and remember, I am open to receiving all the joy, abundance, and love that the universe has in store for me. Because you totally are. Okay, so you picked the turquoise palm stone, which is all about protection, right? And this reading is themed around guarded hearts and boundaries of affection, so already, we're seeing this energy of someone really protecting their heart. So let's see what's going on with these cards, all right? First up, we have the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is all about structure, control, authority, taking charge, you know? So immediately, I'm getting the sense that someone here, either you or the person you're thinking about, is trying to establish some serious control, laying down the law. It's a very my way or the highway kind of energy. They want things done a certain way, and they're not afraid to, step up and make sure it happens. Maybe they're trying to build something, establish something solid, something lasting, which, okay, that makes sense given the protection vibe of the crystal. They could be trying to build a fortress around their heart, or maybe around the relationship itself. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. This card is all about investment, patience, waiting to see the fruits of your labor, you know? It's you've put in the work, you've planted the seeds, and now you're just kinda standing back okay, let's see what grows. So, with the Emperor and the Seven of Pentacles together, it feels like someone's put in a lot of effort to build something stable, but they're also kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see if it pays off. Are they waiting for the other person to reciprocate? Are they waiting for some sign that their investment is worth it? It's they're strategically guarding their heart while simultaneously hopping for a return. And then bam, the Six of Wands. This is all about recognition, success, victory, public acknowledgement. Hey, look at what I accomplished. This adds a whole new layer, doesn't it? It's not just about building something solid, it's about wanting to be seen and celebrated for it. So maybe this person, they're not just guarding their heart out of fear. Maybe they're guarding it while they're also striving for success and recognition, hoping that their efforts will be acknowledged and appreciated. It's they want to be the conquering hero, but they're also scared of getting hurt in the process. So, putting it all together, it feels like someone's really trying to manage a situation, control the narrative, while also secretly craving validation. It's a push and pull between wanting to be in charge and wanting to be loved, you know? And the fact that you picked the turquoise palm stone, it really reinforces that theme of protection. This person could be putting up a strong front, but underneath it all, there's a vulnerability there, a desire to be recognized and appreciated for their efforts. Where do we go from here? Let's see. Okay, wow, okay. So the next card here, and this is super interesting, is the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So like with everything we've already seen, right? The Emperor, the Seven of Pentacles, the Six of Wands, and now this Page of Pentacles, I'm feeling like this is about like a new beginning that they are like really holding close to the chest, you know? It's like they're guarding this, like almost like it's a little seed, you know, that they don't want anyone to mess with. Okay, so what if this Page of Pentacles represents like a new idea, a new project, or even like a new way of approaching the situation, right? And like, because of all that Emperor energy, they're being like super careful about how they nurture it, you know? Like, they don't want to screw it up. They want to control every single aspect of it because it's still so fragile. And like, remember that Seven of Pentacles energy, like waiting to see if their investment pays off. Maybe they're not sure if this new thing is like worth investing in yet, so they're kind of just like observing it, you know, from a distance, making sure it's viable. Or like maybe they're afraid of putting themselves out there, you know? Like with that Six of Wands wanting recognition and stuff, maybe they don't think this new thing is like impressive enough yet, you know? Like maybe they're afraid it won't get them the applause they're craving. So they're like keeping it hidden until it's like absolutely perfect, you know? But like also this could be about like a new opportunity that they're like really hesitant to jump on, you know? Maybe it seems too good to be true, or maybe they're just scared of the unknown, you know? It's like they're so used to being in control, like with that Emperor energy, that like a new, uncertain path feels like really scary, right? And they might feel like they need to protect that potential from like outside influences or negativity or something, which like totally goes with that turquoise palm stone you picked. So yeah, it's like they're holding back this new, budding energy, but like why? What are they so afraid of? What are they trying to manifest here? I guess we'll have to pull another card, huh? Okay, wow, the world? Oh my gosh. Okay, so after all of that, like all that guarded energy and new beginnings, we get the world. This is like huge. This is all about completion, wholeness, like the end of a cycle, you know? It's like all the pieces finally coming together. But like the fact that it's what they're holding back, that's kinda crazy, right? So it's like they're so close to like finishing something, achieving something big, but they're like not letting themselves get there. Maybe they're afraid of what happens after, you know? Like, what if they reach the top and it's not what they expected? Or like, what if they're scared to move on to the next chapter? It's like they're comfortable in the struggle, in the like, almost their phase, you know? And remember that Six of Wands, like wanting recognition. The world is like the ultimate recognition, right? It's like you've conquered everything, you've reached the peak. But like, maybe they're afraid of the attention that comes with that, you know? Maybe they're worried they won't be able to handle the pressure, or maybe they're scared of becoming a target, you know? It's like they want the victory, but they're also terrified of what it means. Or like, what if they don't think they deserve it? Imposter syndrome is real, right? But like, tying this back to that turquoise palm stone, that protection, maybe they feel like they need to protect this completion from something, you know? Like, maybe they're worried that if they fully achieve this, someone will try to take it away from them, or sabotage them, or something. And with the Page of Pentacles, that new beginning, maybe this world card is like the completion of that new beginning, but like on a much bigger scale, you know? It's like they're holding back from fully realizing their potential, from fully stepping into their power. They are so close to something huge, like life-changing, but something is holding them back. So, like, what does this completion even mean for them? What are they so afraid of losing? What is that holding them back? Okay, I think we need to pull another card, right? Okay, so, like, after all that, right, the world being held back, the Page of Pentacles being guarded, now we get the Ace of Swords. Oof, okay, this is like a double-edged sword, literally, you know? This card is all about, like, new ideas, breakthroughs, clarity, but also it can be really, really harsh, you know? It's like a sudden realization that, like, cuts through all the BS, you know? So what if, like, this person is holding back this Ace of Swords from you? It's like they're holding back some kind of truth, you know? Or maybe they're afraid of the clarity that this Ace of Swords would bring, right? It's like they're so used to being in control, like with that Emperor energy, that, like, the idea of things being out in the open is scary, you know? Like, what if this Ace of Swords is, like, a new way of thinking that could totally change everything, but they're, like, resisting it, right? And remember that World card, that completion they're holding back. What if the Ace of Swords is, like, the key to unlocking that completion, you know? But they're too afraid to use it, because it might mean, like, facing some hard truths about themselves or the situation, you know? Maybe they're afraid of what they'll find, right? Okay, so maybe they are afraid that this Ace of Swords moment is going to force their hand, right? That this, like, sudden clarity will make them have to act, make them have to change their course of action, and that clarity is going to force them to put themselves in a vulnerable position, you know? And maybe, like, with all that guarded energy, with that turquoise palm stone that you chose, they're just, like, not ready to be that vulnerable yet, you know? Or maybe, like, they think the truth is going to hurt you or hurt them, you know? It's like they're trying to protect you from something, but in reality, they're just holding you back, you know? Maybe they are trying to protect themselves from something, you know, and in reality, they're holding themselves back. They aren't allowing themselves to come forward. They aren't allowing themselves to have that, like, pure, unadulterated connection. It's like they're standing at a crossroads, right? And the Ace of Swords is pointing the way forward. But they're, like, too scared to take that first step, you know? This Ace of Swords is this sharp, intellectual, breakthrough energy, and it could be exactly what's needed to, like, move past those blocks. So the question is, what truth are they so afraid of, and what will happen if they finally embrace it? It's like a choice between stagnation and growth, right? And, like, what's gonna happen if they finally choose growth? Oh man, I think we need to pull another card. Okay, so, like, after all that intense energy, right, with the Ace of Swords and the world being held back, we get the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so, like, the Eight of Pentacles is all about, like, hard work, dedication, you know, mastering a skill. So it's like, what are they pouring all their energy into? What are they perfecting? And, like, how is that connected to all this guarded heart energy, you know? So maybe, like, maybe they're throwing themselves into their work, like, to avoid dealing with their emotions, you know? Like, classic avoidance tactic, right? Like, if they're busy enough, they don't have to think about the stuff that's, like, really scaring them. Or, like, maybe they're trying to, like, perfect a certain image, you know? Like, with that Emperor energy, they want to be seen as, like, competent and in control, so they're, like, hunting their skills to project that image, you know? It's like, look at me, I'm so successful, I have it all together. When, like, really, they're just hiding behind a mask, you know? And, like, remember that Six of Wands, that desire for recognition. Maybe they think that if they just become, like, the best at something, they'll finally get the validation they're craving, you know? It's like they're trying to earn love and acceptance through achievement, which, like, never really works, right? Or, okay, so, like, what if this Eight of Pentacles is about, like, them mastering a specific skill that they think they need to, like, achieve that completion that's represented by the world, right? Like, maybe they think they need to be, like, perfect before they can, like, finally let themselves be happy, you know? It's like they're setting this impossible standard for themselves, and they're, like, constantly striving to reach it, but they never quite get there, you know? And what if, like, this is something they're doing to try and, like, control the situation somehow, you know? Like, they're so afraid of being vulnerable that they're trying to, like, manipulate things behind the scenes, like, to ensure the outcome they want, right? Like, with that Ace of Swords energy, that truth that they're holding back, maybe they're afraid that if they don't have all their ducks in a row, that truth will come out and, like, ruin everything, right? It's like they're working tirelessly to, like, maintain this facade to protect themselves and maybe even you from something. So, yeah, it's like they're pouring all this energy into something, but, like, what are they really trying to avoid? Okay, so after all this, after all the guarded energy and the hidden truths, and, like, the fear of being vulnerable, we finally get to the Judgment card. Wow, this is huge, like, seriously huge. So Judgment is all about, like, a wake-up call, a reckoning, a rebirth, you know? It's like the universe is, like, ringing a bell saying, hey, it's time to face the music. It's about making a decision, answering a call. But, like, the fact that it's the final card, that's like the universe is basically screaming at them to, like, stop holding back, right? So after all this, all the Eight of Pentacles energy spent perfecting and hunting, all that Ace of Swords clarity being avoided, the world, the potential being held back, the new beginnings of the Page of Pentacles being guarded by the Emperor. It's like everything has led to this moment. It's time to shed the old skin, you know. It's time to rise from the ashes and become who you're truly meant to be. Okay, so what if this Judgment card is telling them that it's time to stop being so afraid of vulnerability, right? What if it's time to let go of that need for control, that Emperor energy, and just be real, you know? It's like the universe is saying, hey, you've been hiding behind this mask for too long. It's time to show the world who you really are, warts and all. And maybe this Judgment card is about finally acknowledging the truth that they've been avoiding with that Ace of Swords energy. Maybe it's time to admit that they're not perfect, that they don't have all the answers, and that's okay, you know? It's like the universe is saying, hey, it's time to stop running from your fears and face them head on. Or maybe this Judgment card is a call to finally embrace that completion that's represented by the world, you know? It's like the universe is saying, hey, you've worked so hard to get here, you deserve to be happy. Stop holding yourself back and just enjoy the ride. And tying this back to the turquoise palm stone you picked, it's yeah, protect yourself during this transformation, but don't let fear stop you from growing. This isn't about building higher walls. It's about creating safe space to heal, to become real, and it's about time. So whatever this Judgment card means for them, one thing is clear. It's time to step into their power and embrace their true potential, you know? The universe believes in them, and it's time they believed in themselves too. You got this. Hey girl, so you picked the Lapis Lazuli moon, which is all about balancing, and the theme is unresolved conflicts and emotional equilibrium, which already feels heavy, right? Like someone needs to chill out. And honestly, with these cards, buckle up. Okay, first, we have the Knight of Wands. This card is pure, unadulterated, fiery energy. Think passion, impulsiveness, adventure. But here, it's like that fire is being contained, or maybe misdirected. I feel like this person wants to just charge forward, express themselves boldly, maybe even recklessly, but something is stopping them. They're holding back that raw enthusiasm, maybe because they're afraid of burning bridges, or maybe they've been burned before, you know. They might be sitting on this crazy idea, this huge crush, this burning desire, but they're just hesitating. And that hesitation is key to what energy they're holding back. They don't want to unleash the full force of their desire. Perhaps they feel it's inappropriate, they have other obligations, or they just don't want to show how deeply they're feeling. It's bottled up potential, waiting to explode, but held tightly under wraps. Then we have the Lover's card, which is about love and relationships, but also about choices and decisions. It's not just about romance. It's about alignment and making a conscious choice to be with someone, right? So, the fact that this card is here suggests there's a major decision to be made in the realm of love, but also that someone may be avoiding making that choice. Maybe there are multiple options, and they're paralyzed by indecision. Or maybe, and this is juicy, they're choosing to stay in a situation that isn't truly aligned with their heart. They're holding back from fully committing, from jumping in with both feet because they're weighing their options, or because they're afraid of making the wrong choice. The Lovers can also represent conflict in values, so perhaps there's something they disagree on, and they're holding back from having that difficult conversation. And finally, we have the Seven of Wands. This card is all about standing your ground, defending yourself, feeling like you're under attack. So, I feel like this person is holding back because they feel like they have to constantly fight for this connection, or maybe defend their choices to others. Perhaps family or friends don't approve, and they're tired of having to justify themselves. Or maybe they feel like they're constantly battling for this person's attention or affection. They're holding back their vulnerability, putting up walls, because they feel like they always have to be on guard. This card screams resistance, so clearly there's some serious pushback, either real or perceived. And the energy they're holding back is their softness, their willingness to be open and trusting. So, putting it all together, it feels like someone's really struggling with expressing their true desires and making a commitment because they feel like they constantly have to defend their choice or fight for the relationship. Which totally vibes with that Lapis Lazuli moon energy, right? Because balance is what's needed. It is all about finding a way to navigate these conflicts. Okay, so wow, the death card. Don't freak out, okay? It's not like a bad omen necessarily. It just means something needs to end, seriously end, for something new to begin. And in the context of all these other cards, it's like this person is holding back because they know deep down that something has to die, Like a way of being, a relationship dynamic, maybe even the whole relationship itself. And that's scary, right? But think about it, with the Knight of Wands held back, it's like they can't fully embrace that fiery energy until they let go of whatever's holding them down. And the Lover's card, that indecision, it's probably because they're afraid of the ending that comes with making a choice. It's easier to stay stuck than to face the unknown, And with the Seven of Wands, all that defensiveness. Maybe it's because they're fighting against the inevitable, trying to hold onto something that's already crumbling. So, the energy they're really holding back is their willingness to let go, to surrender to this transformation. They're clinging to the past, to what's familiar, even if it's not serving them anymore. But the Death card is girl, you gotta cut it loose. And it's maybe this person is afraid of hurting you, or maybe they're afraid of being alone, or maybe they're just afraid of change in general, But the truth is, holding on is causing more pain than letting go ever could. Think of it when you have, a really old, comfy sweater that's, full of holes and, smells weird, but you just can't bring yourself to throw it away. That's what this is like. You gotta ditch the sweater, girl. You deserve a new, fabulous outfit. And it vibes with the Lapis Lazuli moon energy too, right? Because balance isn't just about staying the same. It's about adapting to change and finding equilibrium in the midst of chaos. It's about recognizing that sometimes things have to end so that new things can grow. This card really is saying that they need to embrace the death of the old to find balance. And it is maybe they're resisting it so much that they can't fully move on, and it's just such a heavy thing. I wonder what's coming next, because, that could indicate whether or not they actually move on, or if they stay stuck forever. Okay, so, now we have the Two of Swords. And honestly, it just confirms everything, right? This person isn't just holding back there, actively avoiding seeing the truth. They've got a blindfold on, and they're crossing their arms, It's not just indecision with the Lovers, it's willful ignorance, and it totally vibes with the Death card, because instead of embracing change, they're nope, can't see it, not happening. And the Knight of Wands being held back. It's they're afraid of what they might see if they actually let that fire burn, So what are they not seeing? Well, with the Lover's card there, it's probably something about the relationship. Maybe they're ignoring red flags, or maybe they're pretending that everything's fine when it's clearly not. It could be something really obvious that everyone else sees, but they're just refusing to acknowledge it, Maybe this person is, completely checked out, or maybe they're, constantly lying, or maybe there's, someone else in the picture, And they're oh no, everything's fine, we're just going through a rough patch. But it's girl, wake up. And with the Seven of Wands, all that defensiveness. Maybe they're so busy fighting off external pressures that they're not even looking at the real problem, which is, the relationship itself. They are so busy defending, that there's, a million people that hate their partner, and, they're actively fighting them off, that they're, not seeing that their partner is, a terrible person, Or maybe, they're so focused on, proving everyone wrong that they're ignoring their own intuition, which is screaming at them to get out, Think of it when you're driving and the check engine light comes on, but you just put a piece of tape over it so you don't have to look at it. That's what this is like. They're tapping over the check engine light in their relationship, hoping it'll just go away, but it won't, girl, it won't. And it vibes with the Lapis Lazuli moon energy so much because balancing requires seeing things clearly. You can't find equilibrium if you're walking around with a blindfold on, And the unresolved conflict. It's unresolved because they're not even willing to look at it, you know? They are like, if I can't see it, it is not there, but it is there. So, like, the big question is, what's going to happen when they finally take off the blindfold? Will they be able to face the truth, or will they just, like, run screaming in the other direction? I wonder if the next card will show us what they're so afraid of seeing. Okay, so you know how we were saying that they're, like, tapping over the check engine light. Well, now we have the Nine of Wands, and it's like, the car is still running, but it's like sputtering and smoking and barely making it up the hill, you know? It's like they're still going, but at what cost? Like, this card is all about being resilient, but it's also about being, like, totally worn down and exhausted. And that makes total sense, right? Because, like, ignoring the truth and fighting against change, that takes a lot of energy, girl. And it vibes so hard with the Seven of Wands because it is like, they're not just fighting everyone else, but they are fighting themselves. So, like, what are they protecting? I think they're protecting themselves from the pain of facing reality, you know? It's easier to stay in denial than to admit that something's broken or that they made a mistake. It could be like, they're protecting an image, you know? Like, they don't want to look like a failure, or they don't want people to think they made a bad choice. Or maybe they're protecting someone else, you know? Maybe they're staying in a bad situation for the sake of the kids, or for their family, or something like that. But, like, at some point, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Like, is protecting everyone else worth sacrificing your own happiness and well-being? And it's like, the longer they keep this up, the worse it's gonna get, you know? If they keep ignoring the check engine light, the car is gonna break down completely. If they keep fighting against the inevitable, they're just gonna end up even more exhausted and hurt. It could be that they finally reach a breaking point and they're forced to confront the truth. Or it could be that they just keep limping along, never fully happy, never fully free, you know. But it's like, either way, the longer they wait, the harder it's gonna be. It's like, you know when you have a really bad toothache, but you keep putting off going to the dentist. It doesn't get better on its own, girl. It just gets worse and worse until you're, like, screaming in pain. And this all comes back to the Lapis Lazuli moon energy, because, like, balance isn't about pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the challenges and finding a way to navigate them. And the unresolved conflict, it's not gonna resolve itself if they just keep ignoring it, you know. They have to take off the blindfold, face the truth, and start making some tough choices, even if it hurts. I wonder what the next card is gonna say about how they can finally heal, because, like, they're clearly stuck in this pattern. Okay, so now we have the Six of Swords, and, like, finally, there's a little glimmer of hope, right? Because this card is all about moving on, about leaving troubled waters behind, you know? But it's not like a happy, joyful move. It's more like a necessary one, you know? Like, you're leaving because you have to, not because you want to. So, like, with all the other cards, it feels like this person is finally starting to realize that they can't keep doing what they're doing, you know? That they can't keep ignoring the check engine light, that they can't keep fighting everyone else. The Death card told them to end something, and it's like, now they're actually considering it, you know. They're like dipping a toe in the water of change. But here's the thing, right? The Six of Swords isn't like a quick fix. It's a slow, gradual journey, and it's often a reluctant one. It's like, you're getting into the boat, but you're still looking back at the shore, you know? You're not totally committed to leaving everything behind. And honestly, that makes sense, right? Because leaving is hard, especially when you've invested so much time and energy into something, even if it's not working anymore. It's like admitting defeat, you know? And with that Nine of Wands energy, all that exhaustion, it could be that they are so exhausted and they've finally realized that they don't have anything left to give to this situation, you know? So, like, what are they leaving behind? Well, with the Two of Swords, all that denial, it's like they're finally starting to take off the blindfold, but they're still squinting, you know? They're not ready to see everything clearly just yet. And with the Lovers card, it's like they're starting to realize that maybe they made the wrong choice, or that maybe the choice they made isn't serving them anymore. And the Knight of Wands, all that fire that they are holding back, they are starting to realize that they need to use that fire to propel themselves forward, not backward. It's like they're finally accepting that the relationship or situation or whatever it is it's not what they thought it was. And it is like they can see that, but they are still a long way to go. Think of it like, when you're like stuck in a really toxic job and you need to quit, but you're like terrified of leaving. That's what this is like. They're finally like updating their resume, but they're still checking their work email every 5 minutes, And it vibes with the Lapis Lazuli moon energy because like balancing requires movement. You can't stay still and expect things to magically get better, It's like you have to be willing to rock the boat a little bit in order to find your equilibrium. But this card is also a warning, right? Because it's easy to get stuck in the almost leaving phase, To keep saying you're going to change, but never actually doing it. So, like, the big question is, will they actually get in the boat and sail away, or will they just keep standing on the shore, watching the waves? I wonder if the next card will reveal what will make them finally commit to this transition. Okay, girl, so like, after all that drama, we finally have the Ace of Wands. And like, yes, this card is pure, raw potential, like a brand new beginning just waiting to be seized. Remember that Knight of Wands energy that was all bottled up? Well, this is where it gets unleashed. It's like all that passion and desire is finally finding an outlet, And it's not just about, like, romantic love, although, like, that's definitely a possibility, especially with the Lover's card hanging around, right? This is about, like, igniting your own inner fire, finding something that truly excites you and, like, going for it, no holding back. Think of it like, when you've been stuck in a dead-end job for years, and you finally decide to quit and, like, pursue your dream of opening a bakery. That's Ace of Wands energy. It's scary, yeah, but it's also, like, incredibly liberating and exciting. And with that Six of Swords energy of leaving troubled waters behind. It's like now you're sailing towards a new horizon, ready to embrace all the possibilities that await you, All that exhaustion that we saw with the Nine of Wands. It's like, finally, you're feeling energized again, ready to take on the world. And all that denial with the Two of Swords. It's like the blindfold is off, and you're seeing things clearly for the first time, and you're like, yes, I can do this. But here's the thing, right? The Ace of Wands isn't just gonna magically appear in your lap. You have to, like, reach out and grab it. It requires courage, and it requires action, and it requires believing in yourself, even when it's scary, but especially when it's scary. Remember all that defensiveness we saw with the Seven of Wands? Well, now it's time to put down your shield and, like, open yourself up to new experiences. Think of it like, when you're learning a new skill, like painting or playing an instrument. It's gonna be awkward and messy at first, but if you keep practicing, you'll eventually get the hang of it, and you'll create something beautiful, This vibes so hard with that Lapis Lazuli moon energy. Because, like, balancing isn't about staying safe and comfortable, it's about taking risks and embracing new opportunities. And the unresolved conflict. It's finally being resolved because you're taking charge of your own destiny and creating a life that truly aligns with your heart and soul. So, like, go out there and, like, create something amazing. Believe in yourself, trust your intuition, and don't be afraid to shine. You've got this, girl. All right, darling, if you were drawn to the Sodalite butterfly, remember Sodalite is all about flowing. But here, we're looking at what energy is being held back from you and how that flowing energy is being dammed up. Given the reading's theme of restricted communication and untapped potential, this spread is gonna get juicy. I can already feel it. Okay, so first up we have the Six of Swords. Now this card, it's often about moving away from a difficult situation, right? Like, literally sailing away to calmer waters. But because this is about what's being held back, it's like, someone wants to move on, needs to move on, but they're stuck. There's a journey they're not taking, a departure that's being delayed. Maybe they're holding back from leaving a toxic situation, or perhaps, and this is key, they're preventing you from moving on. They could be stopping you from starting that journey to calm waters, keeping you stuck in the storm with them. Think of it as a reluctance to let go, maybe even a fear of what happens when you're not around. Then bam, we have the Tower. Oh honey, this is where things get spicy. The Tower is never subtle. It's a sudden collapse, a revelation, a shaking up of everything you thought was stable. But if this energy is being held back, that means someone is suppressing a truth, avoiding a confrontation, maybe even unconsciously creating chaos to avoid something else like an even bigger truth coming out. It's like they're sitting on a powder keg, refusing to let it explode, even though the pressure is building. So, they're holding back an inevitable implosion and likely causing themselves, and maybe even you, a lot of stress in the process. What's that truth, though? Ooh, I'm excited to find out. And finally, we've got the Page of Pentacles. This is all about new beginnings, fresh starts, especially in the realm of the material world. Like a new job, a new skill, a new project. It's potential energy, right? So, if this is being held back, someone is suppressing a new opportunity, or maybe even their own potential. This is also about being grounded and practical, so maybe they're afraid to take a leap of faith, scared of the work involved. It's like they're keeping themselves, and potentially you, from stepping into a new, more abundant phase of life. They're not nurturing that seed of potential, letting it wither before it even sprouts. It's all tied in. The fear of change is causing a blockage on all fronts. Okay, darling, so the Five of Wands, oh my gosh. This just adds like another layer of like what is going on here. So we've already got this energy being held back, right? This stagnation. And now we have conflict. It's like they're not just holding back, they're actively fighting something. This is so interesting. Okay, so remember that tower energy we were talking about, that suppressed truth? Maybe the conflict, the Five of Wands, is a direct result of that. Like, the truth is trying to burst out, but they're fighting it, creating all this chaos and disagreement around them, and maybe even like, stirring the pot just to avoid dealing with the real issue. It's like they're in a constant state of, like, internal war, which is manifesting as external conflict. And think about it with the Six of Swords, right? The journey they're not taking. Maybe they're fighting the journey itself. Like, they know they need to move on, but there's a part of them that's resisting, clinging to the past, or to whatever that tower secret is. It's like they're saying, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to change. And that internal battle is creating all this friction. And what about the Page of Pentacles, that new beginning they're suppressing? Maybe the conflict is preventing them from stepping into that new phase. Like they're so caught up in fighting, in proving themselves, in whatever this drama is, that they can't even see the opportunity in front of them. It's like the universe is trying to offer them a gift, but they're too busy battling to even notice. This Five of Wands, it's not just about external conflict, it's internal too. They might be fighting themselves, their own desires, their own potential. They're literally blocking their own path. Maybe they're afraid of what happens if they actually embrace that Page of Pentacles energy, if they actually allow that tower truth to come out. It's like fear is driving all of this. This is so intense, right? All this pent-up energy, all this conflict. It's like a pressure cooker. Someone needs to release some steam, or something's gonna explode. But what exactly are they fighting against? Ooh, I'm so curious. Maybe the next card will give us some insight, because honestly, I am just like on the edge of my seat here. Like, what's the root of all this battling? Okay, so honey, are you ready for this? We got the Two of Swords. Oh my gosh, this explains everything, but also, like, nothing at all. You know? Okay, so this card, right? It's all about being stuck between a rock and a hard place, indecision, not wanting to see the truth. And given all the other cards we've pulled, like, it makes so much sense. Like with the Six of Swords, that journey they're not taking, maybe they're at a crossroads. Like they know they need to move on, but they're completely paralyzed by the decision. It's like they're saying, which way do I go? I don't know, so I'll just stay here. And by staying, they're holding back that energy, not allowing themselves to move towards calmer waters. And remember the Tower, that suppressed truth? Well, the Two of Swords is like, they're actively avoiding seeing that truth. They're blindfolded, refusing to acknowledge what's right in front of them. It's like they're so scared of the explosion of the tower falling that they'd rather stay in denial. But the pressure is still building. And what about that Page of Pentacles, that new opportunity they're missing out on? With the Two of Swords, it's like they can't even see the opportunity. They're so caught up in their indecision, in their avoidance, that they're completely blind to the potential that's right there. They're not even considering taking a leap of faith. And the Five of Wands, all that conflict. Well, the Two of Swords suggests that the conflict is partly because they can't make a decision. They're fighting themselves, going back and forth, unable to commit to one path or the other. It's like they're stuck in this constant state of internal turmoil because they refuse to choose. Oh my gosh, this is all so connected, right? This Two of Swords is like the key to understanding everything. They're stuck, indecisive, and avoiding the truth, which is blocking all the energy that is meant to flow. And remember, Sodalite is all about flowing. Like the energy just wants to move. It's like they're holding everything back, right? The fear of making the wrong decision, the fear of the truth, the fear of change. It's all feeding into this blockage. This is so intense. Like, what decision are they so afraid to make? What truth are they so desperate to avoid? Okay, now I'm dying to see what the next card is, because I feel like it's going to reveal the root of this indecision. Oh my god, this is so good. Okay, so, oh my gosh, the Sun. Like, this is usually such a good card, right? Like pure joy, happiness, success, like everything is illuminated. But the fact that this is what they're holding back. Ouch. Okay, so like on the surface, it could just mean they're suppressing their own joy, right? Like they're not allowing themselves to be happy, which is like so sad. But like think about it in relation to all the other cards, right? With the Six of Swords, that journey they're not taking, maybe they're afraid that happiness is on the other side. Like, they associate the difficult situation with something familiar and comforting. And the Tower, that suppressed truth, maybe the truth is that they deserve to be happy, but they just don't believe it. And the Page of Pentacles, that new opportunity, maybe they're afraid that they're not worthy of success. It's like, all these cards are pointing to this underlying belief that they don't deserve the sunshine. And what about the Five of Wands, that constant conflict? Maybe they're creating drama to distract themselves from the possibility of real happiness. And then the Two of Swords, that indecision, that blindness to the truth? It's like they're choosing to stay in the darkness because the light of the sun is too scary. They don't want to make a decision that would lead to joy because then they'd have to confront their own self-worth, and that is, like, a huge thing. So, what exactly are they holding back? Are they holding back their optimism? Are they keeping you from seeing the bright side of things? Are they refusing to acknowledge the good in their life? Maybe they're afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to show their true selves, afraid of being seen in the light. It's like they're dimming their own light, and maybe even yours too, because of this deep-seated fear. They could even be stopping you from celebrating a success because they don't feel like they deserve that kind of celebration or that it's even possible. And remember, Sodalite is all about flowing, and the sun is like the ultimate source of energy and light, so the fact that this is being blocked is huge. It's like they're damming up all this radiant energy, preventing it from flowing freely. So the big question is, what is so scary about happiness? What are they so afraid of? Oh my gosh, I am just dying to pull the last card because I feel like it's going to reveal the root of this blockage. Like, what is preventing them from embracing the sun and just like letting it shine? Okay, so, oh my gosh, we have the Knight of Swords. Oh honey, this just adds a whole new layer of intensity. Like, this knight is all about action, right? Like charging forward, being direct, being assertive. But because this is what they're holding back, it's like they're suppressing their own assertiveness, their own drive. They're not allowing themselves to take charge, to go after what they want. And like, think about it in relation to all the other cards, right? With the Six of Swords, that journey they're not taking, maybe they're holding back from being assertive about their need to move on. Maybe they're afraid to just grab the reins and steer their own ship. They're letting the situation control them instead of taking control of the situation. And the Tower, that suppressed truth, maybe they're holding back from speaking their truth, from being direct and honest about how they feel. They're afraid of the confrontation, of the fallout, so they just keep it bottled up. And the Page of Pentacles, that new opportunity they're missing out on. With the Knight of Swords, it's like they're not being proactive about pursuing it. They're waiting for the opportunity to come to them instead of going out and grabbing it. They're lacking that Knight of Swords take charge, energy. And the Five of Wands, all that conflict. Maybe they're holding back from being assertive in the conflict, from standing their ground and fighting for what they believe in. It's like they're avoiding conflict altogether, even if it means sacrificing their own needs and desires. And then the Two of Swords, that indecision? Oh my gosh, the Knight of Swords is like the opposite of indecision. This knight makes a decision and goes for it. So the fact that they're holding back this energy means they're actively suppressing their own ability to make a decision and act on it. They're stuck in analysis paralysis because they're not allowing themselves to be decisive. And the Sun, that suppressed joy, maybe they're afraid that if they were to be assertive and go after what they truly want, it would lead to disappointment. Like they don't want to get their hopes up, so they just keep their expectations low. It's like they're preemptively protecting themselves from heartbreak by dimming their own light. They are blocking themselves. So, it's about fear of action, fear of the consequences, fear of rocking the boat. It's like they're choosing to stay small, to stay safe, even if it means sacrificing their own happiness and potential. And remember, this whole reading is about energy flowing, and the Knight of Swords is like pure, unadulterated energy. So them holding back this night is like damming up a huge source of power. I can't wait to find out what happens when they finally unleash it. Okay, darling, so the Hierophant. Oh my gosh, this card. Right. It's all about tradition, institutions, seeking guidance, but also, like, finding your own inner guru. Okay, so, like, the message here is that to break free from all this blocked energy, you need to find a new way of doing things, while also honoring what you already know to be true. And how does that relate to the other cards, right? With the Six of Swords, that journey they're not taking, the Hierophant is saying, like, seek guidance on what that journey should look like. Talk to someone wise, read some books, but ultimately, trust your own intuition about where you need to go. And the Tower, that suppressed truth, maybe the Hierophant is urging them to, like, examine their beliefs. Like, what traditions or institutions are keeping them from acknowledging the truth? What are they clinging to that no longer serves them? And with the Page of Pentacles, that missed opportunity, it's like the Hierophant is saying, like, learn the rules of the game, but don't be afraid to break them. Use your knowledge to create something new, something that aligns with your own values and beliefs. And the Five of Wands, all that conflict. The Hierophant is saying, find a mentor, someone who can help you navigate the conflict and find a peaceful resolution. Someone who can guide you toward inner harmony. And the Two of Swords, that indecision? The Hierophant is saying, seek wisdom, but don't let others make the decision for you. Weigh your options, trust your gut, and choose the path that feels right for you. And the Sun, that suppressed joy? The Hierophant is like, break free from the traditions that tell you that you don't deserve happiness. Create your own rituals of joy, celebrate your own unique spirit. You are worthy. And the Knight of Swords, that suppressed assertiveness? Okay, the Hierophant is saying, learn the art of diplomacy. Find a way to be assertive without being aggressive, to stand up for yourself without causing unnecessary conflict. Find that balanced path. So the overall message here is that to unlock all this blocked energy, they need to find a balance between tradition and innovation, between seeking guidance and trusting their own inner wisdom. And remember, Sodalite is all about flowing, and the Hierophant is like a bridge to that flow. By seeking knowledge, by understanding the rules, but also by being willing to challenge them, they can finally break free from these limitations and embrace their full potential. You can embrace the sunshine, my darling. You can find your flow.